Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Verse 38. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma cetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyantah muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Ye manavaha me idam mitam nityam anutishtanti. Ye manavaha, those people, me idam matam, this teaching of mine, nityam anutishtanti, always follow. And it is said that what Lord Krishna teaches requires a complete about turn in our present attitudes. That what I consider as mine, this body, sense, all of this is not mine, it belongs to Ishvara. That action that I perform with this were always performed for my sake, they are to perform for Ishvara's sake. And that I am no more a person, but I am the one who is performing his duty. I am servant or the devotee of Ishvara. All of this is what Lord Krishna taught in the previous verse. That when you perform your duties, perform them as though you are a servant or a devotee of Ishvara. That those duties also you perform not for self-gratification or a personal agenda, but for contribution to the agenda of Ishvara. And from that you expect no personal reward, no personal material reward. But unless this is rewarding, nobody would tell you to do it. It must be rewarding. So whereas we let go some gross or physical thing, we gain something which is subtle or spiritual. Meaning giving up the karma phala to Ishvara, etc. is giving up. Then that means that what we are losing is something tangible. So in return for the tangible offering, what do I get? I get something intangible, something subtle, something spiritual, something more lasting. What tangible, physical, material thing that I offer are perishable. But what I gain by way of the spiritual gain or subtle gain is something which is lasting. So Lord Krishna says, Muchyante tepi karmabhihi. What is the ultimate reward that you get by performing actions in this spirit that was described in the previous verse? karma vihi muchyante. Muchyante tepi karma vihi. It's interesting. See, literally, karma vihi muchyante. They are released by karma. Karma vihi muchyante, they are released by karma. Means karma releases you. Means that you become released from karma, from the bondage of karma. So this attitude makes you free from the bondage of karma. Now really karma does not bind us, but the wrong attitude binds us. But still it bondage of karma. Because traditionally, karma that you perform gives rise to karma phala, the result of action, which then you are a karta or a doer right now and become bhokta or experiencer to enjoy the results of that action. So you perform karma, and then results come in future, you become a bhokta, then you become karma. So this karta bhokta chain perpetuates. This is called bondage. That when you perform an action, this is performed, it's called karta. So when you perform an action, then you are accountable for the result of the action. Whoever performs action has to experience the result of the action. This is a law. And karma is performed now, whereas the result comes in future. The future may be in this lifetime, or future can also be in the next lifetime. Therefore, in order to experience the results of the actions that you perform, it is very likely that you may have to take birth again to experience the result of those actions. In the process of experiencing results, I perform new karma, and that's how the chain of the doer experiencer, karta bhokta continues. The idea is that one who is karta today becomes bhokta in future. One who performs the karma today becomes the experiencer of result. So this is a chain in which you are bound. The moment you perform karma, you become the bhokta. In bhokta there is a karma, again become bhokta. So when can I become liberated from this? I perform karma all right, but there is no bhokta. Suppose today by law of karma, whoever performs the karma becomes the experience of the result, so karta becomes bhokta. You understand what I am saying? No choice. What we are experiencing today are the results of the action that we performed in the past. And in the process of experiencing, I perform new karma which will bring about result in the past, future. And that's how this whole chain of the karta, bhokta, experiencer, doer, experiencer continues. So how do we break this chain? If you can perform a karma of which you don't have to experience the result, meaning that karma does not create a karta, does not create a bhokta, suppose. You see what I am saying? Then you don't have to be born again to experience those results, and that is how you are released by the karma. So is it possible to perform karma that does not produce a result for you? That's the whole idea. The law is that whoever performs the karma, the karta, must necessarily experience the result and become bhokta. And that is how this whole chain of karta, bhokta perpetuates. So Lord Krishna here is teaching a way of performing karma in such a way that you do not have to become the experiencer of the result. You don't get the result. Understand? Normally, when you perform karma, you get the result which you experience. But here, if this manner, if you perform karma, where no self-centeredness is involved, where there is spirit of offering to Ishvara, then you do not become the recipient of the karma phala. This is the thing. Because then only you can be released from karma. So how can you become released from karma? Because when you perform karma, then you have to experience the result. And result comes in future. You will be present when the karma phala comes. If that karma phala comes next birth, you will be there next birth. And that's how karma is called binding, because karma produces karma phala. The action produces the result. And the rule is that whoever performs the karma has to experience that result. It cannot be that I do something and you experience. I have to experience. And that is how this whole chain continues from one life to the other. The only way the chain can be broken is that karma is performed, but it does not produce result for you. It will produce result all right, but not for you. Because you perform that karma only dedicated to Ishvara, so it will produce result for him, not for you. You understand? That's the whole idea here. So Arjuna, you want to become free. So one way of describing freedom is becoming free from the chain of birth and death. That's one way of describing. That you will not have to be born again. That is how it is described in the Vedic culture. Or somebody says, Swami, why I want to be born again? Why should moksha be not born again? I want to be born again. So what is meant by birth means pain. Because birth means you have identification with the body. So when I take next birth, then I will be identified with the body that I get in that birth. And identification with the body means pain. Because all the pains and limitations of the body become yours. Because I take the body to be myself, therefore whatever limitations body has are my limitations. Whatever sufferings of body are, am I suffering? Is it not so? So birth means pain. That's what is meant. You become free from birth, meaning you become free from the next body, meaning you become free from the identification of the next body, meaning you become free from the pain that that identification brings. So freedom from birth meaning freedom from pain. Freedom from sorrow. Freedom from sorrow means attainment of ananda or happiness. Because happiness is our nature. Only sorrow is veiling that happiness. Like to shine is the nature of sun. Only cloud veils that shining. And so, we don't have to create, we don't have to make the sun shine. All we need to do is to remove the cloud. So also the cloud of sorrow veils the natural happiness of ourselves. So we don't have to produce happiness. That is our nature. All we need to do is to remove the cloud of unhappiness. And that is what is meant by next birth, means unhappiness. So muchyante tepi karma vihi, they also are released from karma. Meaning that they become free from the chain of birth and death, meaning they become free from pain and sorrow. That's what is meant. Not only next birth, this birth itself. What is meant by moksha is becoming free from this pain and sorrow while you are in this embodiment. You will be liberated, you will gain moksha. Although moksha can be only when I abide in the self-knowledge. You see, what causes the so-called bondage is ignorance. Atma is free from, is always ever free, nitya mukta. I'm not really bound, but I have the notion of bondage. I think I am bound. Like that cow. Here is a guru and a shishya living in a forest in the kutia, and guru has 4 cows. So one of the duties of the shishya, the disciple, is to take these cows out for grazing in the forest in the morning, bring them back in the afternoon, tie them again to their post, and then study from the teacher. So it's a total project, serving and studying. Work-study program. In those days, it was the work-study program. What is work? Serving the teacher. This is what this shishya, disciple, was doing. One afternoon, when he comes back from his chore of grazing of the cows, he discovers that of the 4 ropes needed to tie 4 cows, each cow was tied to a post with a rope. And one of the ropes is missing. So he could tie 3 cows with the 3 rope, posts. But what to do with the 4th cow now? How to tie it? So he goes to the guru and says, "This is my difficulty. What do I do now?" So you tie the cow. "No, but there is no rope. How can I tie?" "You tie the cow." Shishya says, "Some problem here, What do you mean tie the cow? How can I do that?" He says, "You go to the cow and do all the gestures as though every day you do the gestures of tying the cow with the rope. Do that." Anyway, because he was an obedient disciple, therefore he did what the teacher said. He may talk, he doesn't understand what he's talking about. But this disciple did. And he took the cow where the post was and did all the gestures of tying the cow with the rope. And to his utter surprise, the cow stood there. Whole night the cow stayed there. Next morning came the time to take these cows to the forest. He unties the cow, twists the tail, and the cow starts walking. For the 3 cows, he untied them, twisted the tail, they started walking. For the 4th one, since there is nothing to untie, he just twisted the tail, but the cow would not walk. Again he says, the teacher seems to have some kind of a spell upon the cow. So what have you done? The cow is not walking. Did you untie the cow? But I have not tied it. You untie the cow. And so all right, that's what he says, that's what I do. And he does the gestures of untying the cow. And then twist the tail. And to his utter surprise, the cow starts walking. So what happened? Cow is liberated from the bondage. Is it not so? Which bondage? Bondage. So cow had the notion that I am bound. And not that the cow became free, the notion of bondage went away. So notion of bondage was created by the gestures of tying the cow, and freedom from that notion was obtained by the gesture of untying. Nothing is done here. All that is happening is the creation of the notion of bondage and dispelling that notion. Similarly, in our life also, Atma is ever free. But I think that I am bound. The ignorance of the self causes in me the notion of bondage. Therefore, the knowledge of the self just removes the notion of bondage. Doesn't make me free. It is not that a bound Atma becomes free Atma. An Atma that is thought to be bound becomes as though free. Meaning that notion has to go. The notion is born of ignorance, so ignorance has to go. Ignorance of the self can be dispelled by the knowledge of the self. Therefore, self-knowledge is important. abidance in self-knowledge means permanent removal of the notion of bondage and therefore permanent owning up of my nature of freedom. It's not becoming free, it is owning up the freedom which is my nature. So all that is needed is the self-knowledge. Tardi shokam atmavit. Upanishad says that the one who knows the self crosses the grief, becomes free from grief. So ultimate moksha is attained by knowledge, no doubt about that. Then how does Lord Krishna says that performing karma in this manner will make you free from the bondage of karma? You would imagine that when you perform karma in this manner, you gain the purity of your heart, in which there arises the desire for knowledge. And then you go to the teacher, gain the knowledge, and become liberated. But important step is that a keen desire for knowledge should arise in our mind. When you eat food, when there is hunger, then it becomes very effective. Otherwise, not so effective. So even when we listen to Vedanta, with a keen desire to know, then the listening Shravanam becomes more effective. All of us have desire, no doubt about that, but depend on the intensity of desire. When that remains only desire in the mind, like our Swami used to say, in Bengal, they have everybody has a pond where they raise fish. So bigger fish eats the smaller fish, and bigger one eats that one. Ultimately, the biggest fish eats everything, and then this fellow eats that fish. Similarly, desire for knowledge eats up all the desires. The only desire left is desire for knowledge. And then when knowledge takes place, that desire also goes. So that has to happen. And that is the reason for this karma yoga. For this attitude of performing action with this attitude of offering, so that my selfishness slowly and slowly is given up, and more selfless I become, purer I become. The desire becomes strong, and that is how the knowledge becomes abiding. So therefore Lord Krishna says, one who performs action in this spirit that I taught in the previous verse becomes liberated. In that two qualifications are stated, Shraddhavantah, Anasuyantah. Shraddhavantah, so those who have faith, full of faith, without asuya, without finding fault with the teaching. So this is a problem that one can have when somebody teaches you something and asks you to do something. Here Lord Krishna is asking Arjuna to perform his duty with this attitude. Your question is, what is the guarantee that what Lord Krishna says will happen? What is the guarantee that by imbibing this attitude that I will ultimately become free? What's the guarantee? That's where the trust is required. Trust in the words of Lord Krishna, that what he says is what he means, and therefore what he says will happen. That's called Shraddha. Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satya Buddhyavadharana. That when this conviction happens in our mind that what the teacher says is true, so what Lord Krishna has said is true, when that conviction arises, then there is no obstacle in following this. See, if that conviction is not there, then any obstacle arises, I give up. The reason why very often we give things that we have started when the obstacles come, because we don't have that strong conviction that this is the way to do. Even while trekking in the Himalayas also, you want to go to Badrinath, and if the conviction is this is the route that takes you, if that is not there, then you wonder maybe this one, and then you waver. In life also, if you don't have that implicit faith, that what Bhagavad Gita says, what Lord Krishna says is true. If that conviction is there, then that value becomes assimilated. Otherwise, it remains Lord Krishna's teaching. But with this trust, it becomes my assimilated value. You follow? When can I do something? Only when it becomes my value. Satyam vada, speak truth. When will I speak truth? When truth is valuable to me. When it becomes my value. Otherwise, I will follow truth as long as convenient. Because they have told me to speak truth, so I speak truth. But not convenient, I let go. There was Shraddha here. You know, Shraddha or trust is required until it becomes your knowledge. Once you know, no Shraddha is required. I know that this is daylight and there is no Shraddha is required. But I don't know, I am in this hall. What is outside I do not know, suppose. Is it day or night? So I can't see. Because sometimes the movies go on and on and on and long time, you don't know whether how many hours have passed and is it day or night. And somebody says, it is day. I don't see it. If I have Shraddha in him, then I accept it. Where is acceptance? When it is not my experience. The question of Shraddha or trust comes in when it is not yet my experience. What is Shraddha? That it will someday become my experience. When I have that trust, then only I can invest myself. Because this requires a total investment of ourselves. Right now we are invested in many goals in our life, in Artha, Kama, etc., etc. All that has to be disinvested, and then my all energy and emotions, everything is invested here. It's a big commitment. And that I can do only when I have that firm conviction that this is the right investment. This is the right thing to do for success that I am seeking. That I want success in my life. I want happiness in my life. This is the only way to gain success and happiness. There is no other way. If I feel that there is other way also by which I can get easier way, I may go for that. But only when I am convinced this is the only way to gain success in life, then only I will put all my heart into that. I will pour all my energy. Shraddhavanta. And when the Shraddha is there, anasuyantaha. I don't find fault in that. Oh, Lord Krishna, I think must have some other agenda. Why is he telling us to? What does he have to gain in telling this? He must have some agenda. So some people see Lord Krishna's agenda. It's Lord Krishna Yuddhasva, fight your battle. So in making Arjuna fight the battle, Lord Krishna has his personal agenda. What is the agenda? He wants to remove all these fellows and paritrana and sadhunam. So he wants to destroy the wicked or evil, and Arjuna is the means through which he does. If Arjuna does not fight, then how will it happen? Lord Krishna's agenda. What's the agenda? Of destroying the wicked. Who is Arjuna? Arjuna is the tool through which Lord Krishna performs that function. He said, I will not fight the battle. So he will not do that. So Arjuna has to do. So some people feel that Lord Krishna is motivating Arjuna to fight the battle so that Lord Krishna's agenda is served. That is reading some kind of a calculation that he is planning and scheming, seeing some purpose or agenda behind this. Lord Krishna says, who does not find that fault, who accepts that Lord Krishna has no agenda. When can you have faith in somebody? Only when that person is my well-wisher. What is meant by my well-wisher? When he doesn't have any agenda. When he says, do this, when the father says, my son, go to medical school, only when father has no agenda. If father has an agenda that my son will go to medical school, he will become a doctor, and I will be, he will make my name shine, he will bring pride to me. So some other agenda is there, then that instruction is not only for the welfare of the son, there is something for himself also. But only when he is selfless, the only thing that is there is the well-being of the son. So if the son does not say, why does father tell me this? What is he trying to gain? I think that he has some agenda behind that. Then I will not have that trust. I cannot wholeheartedly devote myself to this. So when I do not see any other motivation in Lord Krishna, when I do not find any fault in his teaching, don't accuse him of some kind of a fault or agenda, and I know that Lord Krishna knows what he's talking about. He is a Param Apta, he is knowledgeable and trustworthy. Therefore I can trust his words. When this is there, then I can wholeheartedly dedicate myself to implementing what Lord Krishna is teaching. Therefore Lord Krishna says, Shraddhavantaha Anasuyantaha. Those who have implicit faith in my words and those who do not find any fault in my intention. Because intention is always inferred. Understand that whenever somebody talks to us in our mind, we always judge the intention. Why is he saying that? What's the purpose of saying it? What's the intention? We always judge. And if you doubt about the intention, then we don't wholeheartedly agree with that person. So here also, if you find some other ulterior motive on the part of Lord Krishna, then we cannot put implicit faith in his word. So, who doesn't find any fault? This is a mind. There is a mind like that. Even if you tell for the best interest, they will always turn and twist what you are saying and distort the meaning. That's why Lord Krishna says, those who do not have that distorted mind, and therefore those who don't see any fault in me and who trust my words. In fault in me in terms of intention, trust in terms of his wisdom. Understand? The Lord Krishna knows what he's talking about, therefore we can trust. And his intentions are very clear, and then I am dedicated to that. Mucchante tevi karma vihi. With that kind of heart, when they dedicate themselves, then they will be liberated from karma, meaning they will attain moksha. What if they don't? I don't want moksha. Suppose you say, I don't want moksha. Then what? Then I need not follow you. If you don't follow me, then you will get naraka, meaning that you will get suffering. Choice is either liberation or freedom, happiness or unhappiness. So I have a choice to create happiness for myself or unhappiness for myself. So that also Lord Krishna says in next verse. Ye tve tadabhyasuyantaha nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudham stan viddinashtan achetasaha. Ye tu, those who however, tu means however, now giving in the second paksha. The first was those who trust me, trust my intention as well as trust my knowledge. On the other hand, if there are those who do not trust my intention, what is the intention that Lord Krishna has in imparting this teaching? What is his motive? Meaning that those who find fault in me, those who do not trust my intention, they read something else. And secondly, those who do not trust my wisdom, therefore they don't have Shraddha in my words. So Shraddha we have in wisdom. Trust we have in intention. We need both of them. So those who accept my intention, my honesty, and those who accept my wisdom. But those who don't, abhyasuyantaha, those who find fault, meaning that those who read something behind my intention, those whose conclusion is that Lord Krishna's intentions are not honest, meaning that those who question my honesty in this teaching, that I have some personal agenda. This happens very often. It is difficult for some people, many people to just trust. People just cannot trust. Do you mean that? Are you sure? Will you do that? Is that correct? And there may be reason also, it is possible that in their upbringing, maybe their trust has been violated. It's possible. People violated their trust. Sometimes parents violate their trust. You promise something and then don't do that. So for example, this child is so fond of his uncle. Uncle has come from Bombay to his village. And child spends a lot of time with uncle. Uncle takes him to marketplace and buys a lot of things. And so they had a very good time. Now there is a time for uncle to go, his vacation is over, he is going back to Bombay. This child he learns that, he says, I want to go with him. Always wants to go with wherever uncle goes. So today he is going to railway station, not going to market. So what will he be told? I want to go with uncle. No, he'll come back. He has gone to market, he will come back. He never doesn't come back. Then this fellow realizes that I have been cheated. So you trust somebody. I'm not saying there are always ways of dealing with children and manipulating them anyway, but the thing is that when you learn that this is how you have been manipulated, a few times here and there is okay. If this is a trend. In the world, we come across some people who are important to us, people in place of authority, etc., whom we trust, and then our trust is why. It has happened. In business also it happens. With partners also it happens. You trust this person, and he turns around. And one day you go to factory, the doors are closed for you. You're not allowed. Sunday you discover that the bank account is completely wiped out, and things like that. So if somebody has gone through this kind of experiences in life, then that person finds it difficult to trust. Then you question everybody's motive. Do you mean what you say? So that is why Lord Krishna says, there are people who will not trust me and will always doubt my intention. Abhyasuyantaha, and they will na anutishtanti me matam, they will not follow or they will not implement this teaching of mine. They will find fault. Oh, he is asking us to give up all our actions? Then what do we get? Because he is only accustomed to performing action for personal benefit. Now you are asked to give up personal benefit and perform action. So what is in it for me? What do I going to get? It is true that you won't get anything tangible. You will get something intangible. But if he doesn't understand that, he only is concerned about tangible things, then karma phala is tangible. That you have given up. Intangible moksha you get. But there is no value for that. And so, it is difficult for many people to trust this and dedicate themselves to this. Nanutishtanti me matam. Me matam na anutishtanti. They do not implement this teaching, meaning they do not live the life based on this teaching, based on this principle. All that Lord Krishna is doing in Bhagavad Gita is teaching us some basic laws of life, which are not evident to us. The scientists tell us the laws of mechanical laws of life which govern the functioning of matter. But there are other laws which are moral laws and spiritual laws that also govern the functioning of life. And those laws we do not know. So the scriptures are meant to tell us those laws. And that's the kind of thing that Lord Krishna is teaching here. Now look, by giving up this, you gain, by giving up limited, you gain limitless. By giving up limited ego, limited ragadveshas, you gain the limitless. So that's the new law which we don't know. If we trust that what he's saying is true, then only we'll be able to, because it involves giving things. And it is always difficult to part with something that I'm attached to. And so that pinches me. Anytime I have to part with something that is dear to me, it pinches me. And I can do that only when there is a promise of a greater gain. And if I don't trust that, I cannot live a life which requires always self-giving, self-sacrificing, self-offering. Because that kind of life is quite opposite to what everybody is living. So Lord Krishna is asking us to live a way of life quite contrary to the conventional way of life. So they don't do. What happens? Next line, Sarvajnana vimudam stan vidyanastan achetasa. Lord Krishna says, I am telling you a basic law of life to create happiness for you. It is true that what I am telling you goes against what you have been accustomed to do, meaning that you have to completely turn around all your attitudes, etc. Then only you can live this way of life. And if you do not see the benefit and continue with your old ways of self-centered ways, because you think that is where the security is, then you are violating this fundamental law. Meaning that a self-centered life is violating the fundamental law where non-centeredness or selflessness is a law of life. Lord Krishna says that selflessness is a law of life. Look at the whole universe. Everything in the universe is functioning selflessly. Everything is offering itself without expectation of any reward. All elements of nature, they just serve. Sun just illumines, gives light and energy. Earth supports and nourishes. Every element does that. So fundamental law of life is what? Law of yajna, law of self-offering. That is fundamental law. Selflessness is fundamental law. And I am accustomed to living a selfish life because of ignorance. But every time I violate the law, I get violated. Our Swami would say that if you violate the law of dharma, you get violated. It is like rubbing your back with a margosa tree, and you get rubbed. So Lord Krishna revealed the fundamental law in the previous verse. What is fundamental law? Selflessness or offering to Lord is a fundamental law, because the whole universe is created in that spirit and all elements of the universe are offering themselves to the Lord. Look at our own body. We have 5 organs of perception. The faculty of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. Please tell me, eyes see and bring the knowledge of colors and forms for whom? Do the eyes see for themselves? Or do the eyes bring the gift of color and form, that knowledge, for someone else? Is it not so? The ears hear, not for themselves, for bringing the gift of sound for the self. So even in our own person also we can see how all our organs of action, organs of perception, all of them are dedicated to the self. Sarve deva balimavahanti. All the devatas, meaning all the sense organs, mind, everything. Mind doesn't think for itself, for the self. Is it not so? So that's the spirit. Selflessness is the spirit. Self-offering is the spirit. And then when I live a self-centered life, I am violating that basic spirit. Then I get violated. That's why all conflicts are created in my mind. When I violate the law of life, conflicts are created. Sarvajnana vimudam stan. Lord Krishna says those people who are living life in violation to the fundamental law that I have taught, their mind is going to be full of conflict. They can never enjoy peace of mind. Meaning a self-centered person can never enjoy peace of mind. By self-centeredness, he can use his abilities to amass things that is possible, meaning that it is possible that he can acquire some wealth and fame and power, etc., by all that means, but then he cannot get peace of mind, he cannot get happiness. Because there is violation of law. Sarvajnana vimudam stan. Therefore, they are devoid of all the knowledge. Vidyanastan, acetasaha, the acetasa, this non-thinking or wrongly thinking people who have concluded that self-centeredness is the way of life. Nastan, understand, know them to be nastan, destroyed, meaning know them to be devoid of all knowledge and happiness. So there are two ways only. One is a way of knowledge and happiness, other is ignorance and unhappiness. And so that's what Lord Krishna is teaching here, as to how to make our life a process of knowledge and happiness. Okay, we'll conclude here. I don't see our Shuddhatma Chaitanya to make any announcement, so maybe there is nothing to announce. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. But I know what he would have announced had he been here. He would have told you that August 11, which is the second Sunday of August, is the day of anniversary, where the Gurukulam will celebrate the 33rd anniversary, which is the August 11, that is next month. That's the very important announcement. And then there are retreats following now. From tomorrow we are offering one after the other retreats, of which information are available in the booklet. These two things I can recall from his announcement, so I am doing it on his behalf. And of course become gift for a day members and patron members and things like that also.